Hello and welcome to this first look of Synthwave Escape, a new retro rhythm puzzle platformer game with an 80s-inspired synthwave soundtrack and aesthetic. I'm Nick Culbertson, I'm the lead developer on this, and I hope you enjoy it. So this video will give you a little taste of what to expect in it. It comes out December 5th, 2018, so if it's past that date, pick it up. And if it's before that date, it's coming. It's coming. You know the date. It's coming. So what all can I tell you about the game? I would like to say it took 6 months to make, but it probably took a little bit longer than that because I have a young daughter, and so I've been on and off with development. Also, I didn't have a real clear vision of what I wanted the final project to look like when I was starting, and that tended to be there was a long searching out process until I got to something I was really comfortable with. I knew that I wanted to have a mechanic where you could change between characters and use their abilities together to sort of solve puzzles and get into the next room. But I didn't really at first know what those abilities would be or what the puzzles would look like. And I sort of did an interesting thing, or at least I thought it was interesting for making the levels, because I didn't really have experience with level design. So I started to base the levels off of the shapes of letters in the English alphabet. So if you were able to zoom out from some of the levels, you might be able to notice that some levels might start with, say for example, the letter Z. And so with the Z, if you're visualizing that while watching something different, you would start by going to the right, and then you go into a downward sloping to the left sort of section, and then you come out of that and you go to the right again. And because of those forms and shapes, I was kind of able to pretty quickly piece together an outline for what I wanted all 60 levels to look like. And I probably ended up making closer to 80 levels, and I cut out the ones that I felt like just didn't feel like they went with the flow of the game, or they were too easy or too difficult. And so I feel like it was ended up with a good package that sort of ramps up starting easy and then going all the way to the end levels. Might be difficult for some people, and then if you're a seasoned platformer, it might not be difficult at all. But yeah. So one of my favorite parts of this whole process was just creating this world that these escape bots were living in, and sort of writing a story along with that, and kind of crafting a little narrative that would play out in between each of the levels. I am big into sort of synthwave and 80s culture recently, and I've really been absorbing all of that as sort of fuel for this project. And so I tried to put as many references in there as I could that didn't feel forced, to kind of pay homage to some of the source material. This couldn't have been done without, there's an artist named Signal Noise, and all the group of people that follow him are named the Noisers. And he sort of has been leading this artistic movement of synthwave stuff. And it definitely influenced me to the point of wanting to explore sort of that aesthetic more. And it also plays into sort of this 80s nostalgia I have anyways, and I think a lot of us have, even people that didn't grow up in the 80s, especially with books or shows like Ready Player One. Not so much the movie, but the book has all kinds of 80s references throughout it. And it was the first time I'd experienced a piece of modern pop culture that incorporated so much from an earlier generation that I felt like it was sort of the color that painted in the whole canvas of what you were seeing. For a lot of people that didn't grow up in the 80s, though, those references could be a little bit alienating. So I tried to have this where if you grew up in the 80s, some of the things that they say, might remind you of something you'd seen previously, or play off that nostalgia. But if you didn't grow up then you can still enjoy it as a modern retro pixel art game. So people would ask me before, what did I make, what didn't I make? So originally this started out as a different game, and I was working with a pixel artist who goes by the name Shout. He's done some amazing work for me in the past. He did some of the art in Epic Orchestra, including all the little cute guys in it and the background for the first level. So I really was impressed with his stuff, and I was commissioned him to make some artwork for a sort of more of a beat-em-up style game that I'd like to revisit in the future. But part of what he made were some bad guy robots, and that became sort of the basis of the robots in this game. All right, folks, thanks so much for looking at this first look preview of Synthwave Escape, coming to mobile soon, or it might already be out. I'm going to leave it here on this screenshot of Grits and Red Hawk driving off into the Synthwave sunset. Say that 5 times fast. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.